Nintendo says there will be enough Switch 2s for everybody. Nintendo's president says that the company has a bold plan to reduce scalping at the launch of the Switch 2 by making enough consoles to meet demand.
That is an interesting approach. I think this is interesting for a bunch of reasons.
The company likewise claims that the semiconductor shortages that caused supply chain issues in 2022 and 2023 have been resolved and will not affect the next console's launch. Nintendo's president likewise stated that the company isn't in any rush to embrace generative AI, saying it poses potentially serious issues with IP infringement. He likewise expressed that the company will continue to create valuable experiences for gamers that cannot be achieved through technology alone. Should I just invest in Nintendo and be done with it? Like they seem to, on the one hand, they seem like just such buttheads sometimes, but on the other hand, they seem to have a clear vision, for the next 100 years. Keep doing the thing we've been doing for over 100 years.
I mean, it's kind of worked out.
It's kind of working out for them, isn't it?
Yeah. The interesting thing about this for me, though, is how well do you think the Switch 2 is going to do?
With the right games, great.
Yeah.
And Nintendo's been on a bit of a
the Wii U had a lot of the
spree.
right games.
Did it though?
Yeah.
Name them.
Mario Kart 8.
That's 1.
Super Smash Bros.
Okay, 2.
Mario Brothers.
Which one?
Whatever one came out on the Wii U.
Exactly.
Well, I don't know what one came out on the Switch.
Wow, that was a short list.
Galaxy? No, like they had all the usual suspects. They had all the usual suspect Nintendo games you would expect. I'm pretty sure. Breath of the Wild.
I know Breath of the Wild
Wii U.
was on the Wii U, but realistically, the Switch had sold more units than the Wii U by the time Breath of the Wild launched, and that was a launch title. So, let's be real here. Breath of the Wild is a Switch game.
Splatoon was actually a great game. That came out on Wii U. Wii U had a bunch of good titles, genuinely.
Okay. But I think Nintendo is defining banger as 30 million units now. It didn't have a ton of 30 million. I mean, I think
because it didn't sell a ton of consoles. It had good games. They re-released them on Switch and then they blew up.
Okay, that's true.
That happened many times. Mario Kart 8 Deluxe is literally just Mario Kart 8.
That's fair.
And it exploded on Switch.
That's fair. I don't know, man. It's tough. I think that they might be, to your point, walking into the same trap as last time, where people think that it's basically just,
well, my thing is that I think to somewhat of a cycle, it's like, aren't they on an every other console cycle? Just like a lot of other things are on an every other whatever they make cycle. Like Wii U was bad. Wii U was great. Then it was GameCube before that, right?
Yeah.
GameCube actually sold. Did it flop?
GameCube was not very competitive.
But Nintendo 64 was a killer, wasn't it?
Nintendo actually struggled a fair bit there. GameCube sold 21.74 million units, and N64 moved 32. So GameCube was a big step down from the success of the N64, and the N64 compared to the PlayStation 1 sold a third as many. Like Nintendo,
PlayStation 1 was crazy.
Yeah, PlayStation 1 was a killer.
Yeah. Well, I hope it goes well for them. It's a fairly bold take to say we're going to combat scalpers because there's going to be enough Switch 2s for everyone.
Yeah.
That's a really strong take.
They may be right. I mean, the rumor is the hardware has basically been finished for over a year, and game developers are just working on games now. So they may pull it off where they're basically
they just have an insane launch list.
We're going to have a great game library, and we're going to have ample availability. Let's go. I do wonder if there would be a negative impact to having enough, though. Think about
part of the hype cycle is people can't buy them.
Yeah, think about how often it's in the news, when someone scalps it or when it reaches a new high on eBay or blah 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 blah.
As annoying as it was for everyone that you couldn't buy PS5s at all, everyone was talking about how PlayStation was winning the war
because you couldn't buy PS5s.
Yeah,
and you could find an Xbox on a shelf.
Yeah. So
I wonder if the optics of there being enough Switch 2s will actually be terrible.
I wonder if that's
Nintendo.
why they're seeding this.
Maybe.
Trying to tell people early, there's going to be enough. it's still interesting, I promise.
Hey, the Land, Duke, and Dynas. With Nintendo saying that there won't be a chip shortage, do you believe that it's just that, or that they're using lower-powered hardware?
Both. I mean, that's one of the ways to make sure that you don't have a shortage of a chip is to use an older process node where there's lots of capacity. And Ampere would be, I think, a pretty good example of that, where like older, cheap tablet SoCs are not going to be built on such a cutting-edge node as... what is that? TSMC 7 nanometer? I'm trying to remember. NVIDIA Ampere, is it 7 nanometer? Ampere is the largest 7 nanometer chip ever built. Yeah, so Ampere was 7 nanometer. However, I've heard rumors that the Switch 2 SoC is going to be like 6 nanometer or something like that. Anyway, the point is that you're kind of in that middle ground where cheapo garbage stuff is not going to be manufactured on that node, and the latest iPhone is past it already. So it could be like a nice middle ground where there's ample capacity. I'm just guessing based on, some small amounts of things that I know about that business. I've never actually worked in chip manufacturing.